There's Gordo, the tech czar here. Welcome to Hibachi Talk. As you can tell, Andrew, the security guy, is MIA. He's not here today. He's off on the mainland being educated, so he's not going to be seeing us today. But great guest today, Randy Martin. Randy Martin is the president of Paradise Canyon Systems. He's going to talk about what they do here. What I find fascinating about his particular, his company is it's the reverse of what we typically see in Hawaii, where he's a locally based company that does a lot of work for mainland firms. And as a matter of fact, I think all of his work is for mainland firms. Normally, where I always get upset, as you know, is when these people come in from the mainland supposedly doing better than what we can do. But this is, as we know, it's not the case. So welcome. Nice to have you here.
Thank you, Gordon.
All right. So Randy is with Paradise Canyon Systems. You've been with that company a long time, but we like to get a little bit background on our guests and so on, like where you went to, local style, right? Where you went to school. Now, maybe you didn't go to school in Hawaii, you went somewhere else, but anyway, so where you went to school, how you got into this business and so on. So just tell us a little bit about yourself. So where are you from? How'd you get here? What you been doing?
Well, originally from Canada, just like another Canuck like you.
How you doing, eh?
Yeah, I think we grew up very close. You were in Toronto and I was in St. Catharines.
Right.
Yeah, St. Catharines is a town about 12 miles from Niagara Falls. So anyway, went to high school there, went to school in the United States with swimming scholarships. I was a speed swimmer and ended up graduating in Brock University in St. Catharines.
Okay. I forgot you were a swimmer.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. We used to hang out a lot more at the lounges.
Yeah, my claim to fame was that I was third in the 1964 Olympic trials. Canada only takes the top two, so that's how.
Wow, nice, nice.
Yeah,
and how cold was the water when you were
old
training?
news, I don't have that stud muffin body anymore.
Yeah. Tell me what happens when you get up there in age.
Well, in swimming in Canada, like as soon as it gets nice, you do the outdoor swimming, right? And they open up the outdoor pools right after Canadian Memorial Day type of thing.
Right.
The water's 58 degrees.
I know, they don't, it's not heated.
That water, man, you're like gone. Like,
yeah.
It warms up.
I forgot, you forget about these things. I remember getting up, because I'm not as good a swimmer as you, but I used to get up every Monday morning. First thing in high school was swim class at 6 o'clock Monday mornings, and that damn water was cold. It was a terrible way to start your school week. So
I swam 7,000 yards a day for 6 days a week when I was in university.
So it's not fun anymore, right?
No, I always swim enough to save my life now.
So you St. Kitts. By the way, the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing terrible this year.
I don't even mention their name anymore.
Oh, okay.
You're either a Canadian fan or you just don't even talk about Canada.
Canada. So anyway, then you went to school in the U.S.?
I did. I was on scholarship, went to last place was Florida State, and then family tragedy, ended up having to go back home to Canada, and I finished up school there. So
you finished up in Canada. Now, how'd you get to Hawaii?
Oh my God! Got into computer. I got hired off campus by Bell Canada.
Okay.
So I did 2-year stint.
That's the phone company.
Yeah, Canada. So ended up in engineering. Left, got a sales job with a computer company, and did very well and fast tracked to success. Opened data centers for them across Canada. Ended up, blah blah blah, in Vancouver.
Okay.
And along the way, I met an American lady, got married, and then she wanted to move back to the United States, moved to Los Angeles. So I was working for a New York Stock Exchange company, headquartered company there. And
Los Angeles is just such a wonderful place compared to St. Catharines.
I had a great time there. Everybody complains about LA, but just like pretend there's no smog.
Yeah, just pretend there's. Hey, my grandson lives there. He loves it.
Yeah, so I 5 years rose to fast track to success. Last job was vice president in charge of all the data centers in Southern California.
So what year was this that they were building data centers? Because this was relatively a new phenomenon at that point in time, right? This was
pre-cloud. In Canada, this was 70, 75, 76, 77.
We're dating you now, but that's okay. So that's all right. You look pretty good for someone that's that old. Anyway, so 75, 76.
I think I'll stay a while now.
Yeah. So mainframes?
No, we sold products that actually work with the mini computers.
Okay.
In those days, remember mini computers?
I remember mini computers, yeah.
So we did that. Then when I moved down to Los Angeles, got a job working for a service bureau type of company.
Okay.
Today we call it cloud.
Cloud,
Yeah,
but we just changed the names.
I know, it just circles right around.
It's the same thing, I know.
Distributed processing, mainframe processing, just keeps
right.
going around.
It's going
yeah.
around. It's really-
So, yeah, and I did that for 5 years and then left and I started my own business and then for a couple of years and I sold it to a company in Atlanta and did consulting for a while and then, anyway, I started another business in 78, 79 and we were in the office product business and we were opening up in Chicago, Oakland,
So what do you mean by office product? What's an office product?
I started remember recycled toner cartridges?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Before Costco refills them now.
Yes. I was a really leading edge guy. I mean,
Wow.
I had 5 plants throughout Western United States where we're actually taking the cartridges and refilling them and reselling them. So anyway, a salesman working for me in San Francisco, and he got an opportunity with the GSA stores.
Okay.
GSA wanted us to come to Hawaii and talk to the GSA stores at Hickam and at Pearl Harbor.
So a GSA store is the government
Service Administration.
Yeah, service administration. So you're selling product in the government space.
Yeah. Well, this 25 years ago, if you wanted to buy something in the base, you went to a GSA store.
Okay.
I don't know what it's called anymore. On Pearl Harbor Navy, it's called Exchange.
Yeah, the exchange. Right.
Yeah. So Air Force and so. Anyway, we got invited to open up a recycling plant on Pearl Harbor. This was long before 9/11, right? So,
Wow. Yeah. Yes, true. I used to teach on Pearl Harbor. We could get in easy.
Yeah, so those days, you went through the yellow pages and said, okay, so I don't see any businesses that have my name, and I went down and registered the company. And
Yellow pages, for those of you that are too young, this used to be a book, and it was yellow, and all the businesses were in there, and your phone number was in there.
Yeah, and there was no internet. If you wanted to know if you had a conflicting business name, you went to the yellow pages.
To
and
see if there was,
there's no name. Go down straight down to Department of Consumer, DCCA.
DCCA, right. Can't go online now and
give them
see
your
the-
$25 and get your attorney to register the company.
Yeah.
So I was doing business in Hawaii. So then bought a couple of businesses, and so next thing you know, I'm legitimately doing business here and some office product stuff. And I acquired a company, had 3 Canon USA dealerships, and and then I met Donna, and the rest is history.
Rest is history, and you're here. So now, Paradise Canyon Systems. Is that right? I get it right? Paradise Canyon?
Correct.
So you're the president of that company.
Correct.
You started it here? Or how did that work?
Yeah, so the office product business was dying quickly.
Okay, just like the managed services business is dying quickly now.
So we decided we were going to get into networking products.
Okay.
And we picked up a fax server product line.
Remember fax servers?
And fax servers needed to sit on NT, Windows NT,
NT,
server,
yeah.
right? So I was like, okay, so let's go look at, I looked in the yellow pages again, right? Like 1,000 Nobel resellers.
Oh, yes.
So I was like, I don't like to be one of 10,000 of anything, right?
Yeah.
So, the Microsoft resellers was itty bitty tiny, so I said, I'm going to become a Microsoft reseller. So we did that. We started picking up more and more products that would sit on Windows NT. And as you know, Windows NT kind of revolutionized what networking as we know it today. So we just, and then in 1996, we got into reselling LAN-based client-server content management systems.
Okay.
And we did a lot of that. And in 1999, one of the companies that we sold products for, sorry, I'm losing my voice.
Losing your voice.
I had what was called a email archiving server.
Okay.
It's like, wow, this is kind of crazy. So because we sold NT back office servers and we sold and installed Exchange servers, we thought this would be a natural fit. So anyway, we became certified. The product was known as Email Extender.
Okay.
It was owned by OTG Software.
You tried to sell that to me once?
I did. You didn't buy into it, though.
I didn't buy into it, though. And part of it is because...
Tried to sell you my fax server, too. You didn't buy into that
either. I know. And you still got you to come on the show. Oh,
yeah, you're lucky, man.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'll buy you lunch afterwards. At least
go.
you'll get something out of it.
Yeah.
But interesting, though, that, one of the things that you talked about is that, this email extender and email archiving. we don't save email a lot here at our government side of this space, do we?
Yeah, that's pretty much why we don't do any business here, is because the state legislature has very lax rules on company requirements and length of time to retain stuff. So just to back up a bit, so we got into the email business, and then gradually we started doing as much email as we were doing content management, and then back in 2008, the economy went just kabooey, right?
Right, you bet.
And
you bet.
yeah, so I mean, I lost almost $1 million worth of content management business, just went away.
Yeah.
So we were stuck there with the email. So we put all of our time and effort into the email archiving, and lo and behold, along comes Bernie Madoff.
Oh yes.
Scares the
How
crap
remember
out of
Bernie
it.
Madoff? How much money did
Scared
he?
every company, like, well, everybody wants to save their email. So anyway, so we went from, you know, being 90% content management to being 50-50 to, you know, today, if I was to define Paradise Canyon, we are a company that consults, sells to medium, I would say anything smaller than, usually $3 billion in sales or less, companies that we consult them on best practices for email archiving and legal discovery for their attorneys.
Wow, wow.
So, yeah, so we have over 100 customers that we service directly. We are one of the top 3 people in the United States for the movement, the migration of moving Archive A to Archive B. So in other words, if you were in HP Archive and you wanted to go to Veritas Archive, we do a lot of that.
There. So,
yes.
okay, hold that. This is a poignant pause. We'll get you some water, too.
Yeah.
And we're going to go pay some bills. And we'll come back with what's the upside. That's another segment we have. And then we'll continue on with Randy Martin, president of Paradise Canyon Systems. Quite the entrepreneur, I might add. And we'll be back in just a minute. Quarter of the Techs are here. I'm here with my guest, Randy Martin, president of Paradise Canyon Systems. We're talking about his efforts in the tech industry and how you've actually grown up in this thing and kept your hair, I might add. You're one of the few people we've had on this show that have been in the industry a long time that still got their hair. So anyway, but before we do that, I think, want to do a thing I like to do is called What's the Upside? What's the upside of doing this? But part of this is like, also I was doing it at the same time I was looking at, tax season's coming upon us, and we're talking about doing business in Hawaii, right? And everybody, a lot of people talk about doing business in Hawaii and how difficult it is, and you and I can both say that, it's not exactly the easiest, but it's not as bad as we think. I always thought Hawaii was the worst place to do business because it used to get ranked in there. Now we're 33rd. So we've moved up. We're 33rd worst. We're no longer 50th worst. So we've moved up. We moved up the thing. Moved up the scale. But anyway.
It ain't that bad because I haven't moved the company yet.
Yes. And I just started my new one. So, who knows? We can just help this thing move along. You can say, we've had all these great startups. I haven't made any money, but I've started another company. Anyway, so what's the upside? I got this picture. I saw this the other day when I was walking up Alakea Street. And so I'm going to give you a hint. So this is a building that is, well, that doesn't look quite right. Anyway, this is the building that's, there we go. This is a building that's near and dear to our heart. Well, I don't know if it's near and dear to our heart, but this building is right on Alakea Street, and it's the courthouse.
You ever had to peer there? It's not near and dear.
That's why it's not near and dear. That's why that's not near and dear. But, it's the courthouse. Now, this is the courthouse. The courthouse has been tagged. Now, I walked by there yesterday. It's still there. So why do I not feel safe? Why am I not feeling safe? This took some work. This wasn't someone who had to stand there and crank this puppy out in a minute and a half. Yeah. This took a while for someone to do this. And whoever it is, it's Eric LK or whatever that. Anyway, so this is, again, what's the upside, man? Can we please get it taken down? That'd be nice if you guys would just stay on top of it and keep our place nice and neat and clean. Anyway.
It'd be good to know whether it's there tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see if, well, you know what?
Well, tomorrow's Saturday. So
tomorrow's Saturday, that would be overtime. And this is not the youth correctional facility overtime scam we were reading about in the paper yesterday. Yeah. 23.
The rabbit hole we're not going down.
23 guests, I call them guests, 23 guests and $1 million and change in overtime.
I read that story.
Yeah, when they used to have 90 guests. So we'll not even go down that one. There's a thing called the high 3 in government. I'm sure you've heard of it.
No, you worked there.
I worked there, yeah. So that you get paid, your pension is based on your last highest 3 years of work.
I've heard that.
And that includes overtime. So if you crank out the overtime during that period of time, that's your pension, which could be higher than your base when you were working there. So you see a lot of that going on over there.
HEA doesn't want you to say that.
I just said it, and so what? And I'll get my car keyed again. Oh, it never happens. Anyway, oh boy, I'm toast. Anyway, so coming back, it's Randy Martin. So you Paradise Canyon Systems. You started this email archiving division within your enterprise. So where does it go from there? How does it go from? Why are you not doing it here? And why is your business all on the continental U.S. or for the most part there?
Yeah, if you understand, there are a lot of legislation rules. You've heard of Sarbanes-Oxley and the Patriot Act and all this kind of stuff. The state of Hawaii has never embraced any of them. You know.
Okay.
Federally, there's the federal rule of e-discovery that came out, but it only counts if you're actually going to end up in federal court. Now, since that time in 1996, the last I looked, it was I think it was 27 states that state legislature had embraced and paralleled legislation for the federal rule of e-discovery.
Okay.
And basically what it says is that it's not against the law not to keep email, but if you don't keep your email in a reasonable amount of time. Now understand that 70% roughly is the industry standard, 70% of all legal matters or lawsuits start with email.
Right, ask Hillary Clinton.
Yes. And a bunch
we
of
won't
other
go
people.
there either.
Yeah, anyway. So what you end up with is rules and regulations on the U.S. mainland with companies, because more companies do multiple state type of work.
Right.
So they're liable to end up in federal court a lot more than they would end up in state court.
Okay.
So from a corporation standpoint, larger corporations have serious email archiving plans in place. Okay, retention policies.
So helping me to understand this is that, there's not a lot of large corporations based in Hawaii doing.
Not many are out-of-state workers. Hawaiian Airlines would be an out-of-state worker.
Okay, Hawaiian Airlines would be one.
Electric company doesn't.
Doesn't, right. Obviously.
Kamehameha Schools doesn't. Okay,
right.
so depending upon the type of business that you have and whether you cross state lines, depending basically whether you're going to.
Got it.
But the state of Hawaii doesn't have any policy in place paralleling the federal rule of e-discovery.
Okay.
So if you want to get rid of your email within, what is a ridiculous amount of time, it's not illegal here. So on the mainland, you can't get rid of email. If you go to court, even in state court in the mainland, in most states, then you've only got 2 years worth of email. The judge is going to look at you like you have something to hide.
Okay.
If you go to federal court,
okay,
and you don't have an archiving backup policy in place,
okay,
the judge has the right to ask you if you do.
right,
The opposing attorney has the right to get anything he asks for. So let's say there's a legal matter that involves Betty Jones. And Betty Jones, the opposing attorney, says, I want all the emails for the past 5 years for Betty Jones. So by the federal rule of e-discovery, the company that has that information is legally bound to give that information to the attorney.
So that must cost a heck of a lot of money to go through that process of e-discovery.
Well, you're in the IT business.
I know.
So you don't have an archiving. If you don't have a silo that's archived everything from the journaling aspect, and
Right.
you've got to go into your Exchange server,
Right.
in 5 years go into your backup tapes,
Right.
your IT department's going to be there forever.
A long time.
It costs a lot of money.
Costs a lot of money.
And a lot of companies that don't have these secondary, third-party archiving tools actually spend a lot of money with law firms having them go into their archives.
Right.
And,
Right.
you know.
I've been involved in those situations
Yes.
where we had to go back and pull stuff off tapes.
So we sell software that basically will archive email. We can take from a journaling standpoint. Journaling, as you know, is anything hitting the email server instantaneously
Right.
coming and going. A copy gets into, and we have a built-in OCR engine that opens it up, and
Optical character recognition.
yeah. So all the metadata, both of the text of the email and whatever the attachments, we open up attachments, we OCR that, and we store all that metadata and tag it to the original email.
So now how is cloud impacting, cloud email like Office 365, Gmail, all of those?
Seriously, it's impacting seriously. So, just as to finish the on-premise stuff.
Okay.
So if you have an on-premise, you have a silo. So we can actually put through that same server, we can put email, SharePoint, and share file server information in there. So through the software, we can set rules and policies on retention by department, by individual, by job type. So that's where the consulting that we do is we have the experience now in saying, okay, so the rule of thumb is that C Corp people keep the email for 7 years, senior management, like middle to senior management, 5 years. There's a 3 to 5 year rule, and then clerical staff with a statute of limitations on clerical staff is 2 years anyway. So you can set those. So from a storage standpoint, I mean, everything ends up being storage, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
So we can help.
Did you try to sell me storage too?
No.
Okay, just checking.
No.
Because I didn't buy that either.
I only sell that in the mainland.
I'm surprised you're still my friend.
So what you end up with is you dramatically reduce all this email into a manageable, and then there's discovery tools, and we've actually, a lot of our customers, we have some customers that are 10, 12, 15,000 mailboxes that we service them directly. We consult and work with their attorneys, and we've helped one big medical center in Northern California through our software. They were able to nip a matter that was sent to them in the butt within less than 24 hours and save themselves a $5 million lawsuit.
Wow, wow. So those are the
It
kinds
would
of
have
things.
gone, it was a racial discrimination suit, and it would end up going to the federal court. It's just
Oh, and that
terrible
would have
stuff.
dragged on for
Yes.
years and years and years. And so you've got this happening, the cloud stuff that's happening. You got something else? Go ahead, fire away. I keep butting in on you.
No, but you asked me the impact
Yeah,
of, okay,
yeah.
So Office 365 has made a major impact in everybody's life. I mean, one of the reasons that, i.e. Dell and EMC, is that, if everything's going to the cloud, there's no on-premise storage, right?
Right.
So, but it'll be back, it's like
Yeah.
that big cycle
Oh,
thing.
I know. We'll call it something. We'll call it something else.
But it is affecting our business, the fact that people are moving their Exchange servers,
Right.
okay, moving it to Office 365 or Google. Now, the good news is if they go to Office 365, our software has a mechanism where we can actually activate journaling in Office 365 and bring it back to the on-premise archive.
Right.
So that's good news for us. But that Microsoft is kind of misleading people, thinking that they have their own e-discovery tool that's going to work for them. They really don't. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the HIPAA. They sort of give an impression that they're HIPAA compliant, but if you dig deep, that they really aren't.
Yes.
So it's those kinds of things. Same with Google.
Interestingly, we picked up a partnership in July with a company called Spanning. Spanning is one of a half a dozen companies that back up the cloud. So they back up Salesforce, they back up Office 365, and they back up Google Apps.
Okay.
So we're selling that product now. And one of the reasons is that, number one, we're losing business to those people. And number two, the SLA for both Google.
Service level agreements.
Yeah, for both Microsoft and for Google is that, oh, you lost your email? Good luck with that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, if they lose it on you, like they're responsible for bringing it back. But
Right.
you get an employee that deletes and then it's gone, right?
Right.
They're not going to go get it for you.
No, they're not.
So we're selling this product. It's a cloud-based product. So you can't beat them joining them, right?
Yeah, you gotta tell me about it. So you're constantly reinventing yourself.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah,
stay-
IT changes monthly.
it's like constant. So, but like I was coming back to our original point here is that, but the majority of your clients are mainland-based clients.
We have 5 customers in Hawaii. The other 120-something are on the U.S.
On the
mainland. We
US
have customers from Seattle to New York to Florida to Los Angeles and everywhere in between.
And everywhere in between. So my point being, again, I keep emphasizing over and over again, you can be a small, local-based Hawaii company, and you're not small by any means. You're small maybe in footprint, but in what you deliver and services around the country, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Well, we have an expertise in a very small footprint,
Right?
but our engineers are experts at what we do,
Right.
and 90% of all of the business that we get comes from word of mouth.
Wow, wow.
People find us.
So we're running, time is winding down.
Already?
Yeah, isn't it amazing? So your website is?
I want to stay longer.
We can do that. We'll have you come back. Repeat show. So your website is?
ParadiseCYN.com. So
Okay.
www.paradisecyn, all one word, .com.
I know, a nice website. I went there to get a little bit of research on you. And so...
very self-explanatory, everything that we do.
It's right there. It's very cool.
Yes.
It is very, very cool. So anyway, I also didn't know if you realized that our guests get a autographed solo cup. We spare no expense on this program, as you can no doubt tell.
This is signed by the little guy?
It's signed by Angus right here. He's signed Angus and Gordo, and I signed it for Andrew, but he says Andrew was not here. So that's there. This is number 49 in the series. So you got number 49. 50th show next week. That's going to be pretty amazing. But anyway, that's for you to cherish for the rest of your life.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Randy, it's been a pleasure having you here. It's actually been a pleasure having me do this job by myself. I don't want to do it again. Thank goodness I had a good guest. We'll be seeing you next week. Remember to follow us on Hibachi Talk. Remember to follow us on YouTube. Remember to behave yourselves. And remember, as we always say, now you don't know, but this is it. How you doing?